Good afternoon, Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Thị Quỳnh Hoa, the host of Horn 2, Section 2 of the conference. Good afternoon, Ms. Ngô Thị Hiền Trang, the Secretary of Horn 2, Section 2 of the conference. Dear the scientists, researchers, and my colleagues. My name is Phạm Thị Thu Hương. I am the teacher of the University of Foreign Language Studies, the University of Đà Nẵng, Vietnam. Today, on behalf of our research team, which include 3 members, Associate Professor Dr. Trần Hữu Phúc, Associate Professor Dr. Nguyễn Văn Long, and me, I'd like to present our study named The Use of Hashes in English Computer-Mediated Writings made by EFL students at the University of Đà Nẵng, Vietnam. Our presentation has 5 parts. 1. Introduction. 2. Theoretical background. 3. Research methodology. 4. Findings and discussion. And 5. Conclusion. And now I'd like to go straight to the first part, introduction. As you know, the rapid development of high technologies and the internet has made potential contribution to English language education for the past few decades. The phenomenon of computer-mediated communication, abbreviation for CMC, has captured the interest of both the general public and academics. Since the 1980s, many communication and linguistic experts have conducted relatively interesting research in CMC. However, there have not existed many studies of CMC or computer-mediated communication in the Vietnamese higher education context so far, and that's the reason why we conducted this study with the aim to investigate the use of modal verbs and hashes in computer-mediated English writings of EFL students at the University of Đà Nẵng, Vietnam. And to target the end of the study, we set up 2 research questions as follows. Question number 1, how are modal verbs used in Vietnamese EFL students' computer-mediated English writing? And question number 2, to what extent do these linguistic units employed in the first writing version differ from in the final one? Part 2, the theoretical background. To carry out this study, we based on the theory of hearing, which mentioned to the concept of computer-mediated communication, concept of computer-mediated discourse, approach to computer-mediated discourse analysis, and linguistic feature in computer-mediated communication. Besides it, we also based on Laskov theory and Nazaroff theories of hashings in English linguistics. In concept of CMC and CMD, according to hearing, computer-mediated communication is the written or text-based communication between the student users via the instrumentality of computers. And computer-mediated discourse encompasses all kinds of interpersonal communication carried out on the internet. For example, by email, instant messaging, web discussion board, and chat channels. In concept of hashes in English linguistics, Laskov defined that hashes are words whose meaning implicitly implies first English words whose job is to make things fuzzier or less fuzzy. And according to Nazaroff, hashing is a pragmatic phenomenon, and its interpretation depends on the context. And there are 9 types of lexical hashes. First of all, modal verbs, lexical verbs, probability nouns, probability adjective, probability adverbs, adverbs of frequency, it clause, compound hashes, and filler. And because of the time limitation for presentation, today we focus on using modal verbs as hashes in the EFL student CMC writing. And this is also our the scope of the study. Part 3, research methodology. Research method. To fulfill the aim of the study, both quantitative methods and qualitative methods were applied in this research. Also, the study used a descriptive and comparative method to describe the characteristics of the study subjects and estimate how much the frequency difference of this linguistic feature was between the two corpora. The subjects of the study. The subject of this study composed of 135 computer-mediated writings made by English major students and non-English major students at the university since the academic year 2017-2018 until now. And each writing had two versions. Version 1 includes the student's first computer-typed composition without online writing assistant tool, and version 2, that's the second of the final writing, which were mediated with some online English writing aids or English writing facility on the computer. About the data sampling technique, guided by hearing analysis of the strength and weakness of data sampling technique, we chose technique by individual or group and by time. The two techniques are useful for comparing across individual or group and rich in context. And furthermore, they are very necessary or suitable for longitudinal analysis like our study. And here the sample collection stay with 5 steps. And the setting the corpora with 2 corpus, corpus 1 and corpus 2. About the data analysis instrument. In order to obtain the data research data and carry out the data analysis systematically and effectively, we use 2 types of instrument. Number 1, that is the software uncount with some tools like Wallis, concordance, cluster to calculate and compare the frequency of the linguistic unit in the student initial and last writing version. And the second type of instrument, that is the questionnaire 1 and questionnaire 2 in the 2 survey to get student and teacher participant feedback of the online English writing process at the University of Da Nang, Vietnam. And part 4, findings. In concern with the findings of using model verbs of ability or possibility as hashes in CMC writing, we found 5 model verbs such as can, could, may, might, and able to were used as hashings for prediction, expression, and certainty implication. And of the 5 model verbs can appear in the 2 corpora with the highest frequency. Secondly, modal verb could, may, and might, which are known as hashing, were employed most less than can in the 2 corpora, and the writer used them in conditional structures to express prediction or their individual point of view with low certainty. You can look at 3 writing sample number 79, number 10, and number 36 in the 2 corpora with some modal verb used as hashes, could, might, and able to. And besides, except for able to, the 4 other modal verb of ability or possibility were used as hashes in the second writing version, much more than in the first one. You can see the figure express the frequency of modal verb of ability in corpus 1 and corpus 2 in the bar chart described on the screen. And sometimes the student misuse the negative form of can, which was cannot, two separated words instead of one word cannot. And last but not least, several writings contain no modal verb or possibility or ability in both writing versions of the student at all. It's very surprising. And in concern with the finding of using modal verb of obligation and necessity, we found 4 modal verbs such as must, have to, need, and should were used as hashing, referring to personal and impersonal obligation and necessity. Then must have the high need frequency in the first and the final writing version. Despite have to has a similar function. You can see writing sample number 126 in corpus 1. The writer used only one token have to, but in corpus 2, the writer used token must twice. Secondly, the number of tokens should was much higher than that of need because should has more function. For example, necessity, advice, and recommendation than need. For example, the writing sample number 23 in corpus 1 with 1 token should, but in corpus 2 with 2 token should. And finally, we found that except for have to, the rest modal verb of obligation and necessity were used as hashes in the final writing version much more than in the first one. And you can see this in the figure or bar chart express the frequency of all modal verb of obligation and necessity in corpus 1 and corpus 2 as shown on the screen. In conclusion, this study carried out to investigate the use of modal verb as hashes in the EFL student CMC writing, and it found that modal verbs were mostly used to demonstrate the author's judgment, moderate their claims, and avoid solid prediction and implication of certainty. Secondly, modal verbs were used as the hash in the final writing version much more than in the first one, and sometimes a few writing accepted incorrect negative form of modal verb can. And finally, several writing made by student group with low level, for example, A2, contain no modal verb of ability or possibility at all as hashing in the CMC writing. That's all of my presentation today. Thank you very much for your listening, and I'm willing to listen to your comment as well as your question, and I will try my best to give the answer as well as possible. Thank you.